Hello, guitarist, sitting in your house watching the YouTubes. I'm recording this on March 24th, Tuesday morning, here in Salzburg, Austria, where I happen to be locked down mid-travels. And in this video, we're going to talk about focus and how to do it whenever there's so many ways to get distracted in this day and age. So most of us are just kind of quarantined, self-locked away, social isolation, all these catchphrases that we keep throwing around, and it's just harrowing. You turn on the news, it's just craziness. And so what do? How do we actually get anything done on the guitar? We talk about time management, right? This is a big buzz thing, and you can find books on it and everything. But really, just as important is attention management and energy management. Those two are even more important in many ways, because you can spend hours on something, but if you're unfocused, if you're not paying attention, if you're distracted, if you have low energy, then it's not going to do you very much good there. So I'm going to share some ways, some of my favorites, of how to get focused and how to switch off the outside world and just get into the guitar, so that when it comes time to practice, if you give yourself some time to practice, that you actually get some good out of it instead of just sitting there with your mind spinning. So here we go. Are you ready? Let's do it. Number one is just a simple breathing exercise, and that's called box breathing. You might know this one. It's very popular. The Navy SEALs use it to stay calm under their craziness that they endure with bullets and whatnot. And this is how it goes. I like the number 5, but you can use any number, but you breathe in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5, hold for 5. And so then it's just really nice to do it. And so you can close your eyes if you want, but you just count. And you do that 10 times, 5 times, 10 times, however many times you want. And it's really nice. And so let's do it right now. Ready? Here we go. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's one cycle. And so you just do that. Sit down, relax, do that 5 or 10 times, and it's amazing what that does to your parasympathetic nervous system, if I'm getting that right. It just totally calms you down, especially if you breathe through your belly, whether your belly moves out when you breathe in. It works even better. Instead of raising your shoulders, breathe out through your belly. So that's breathing, that's box breathing, and it is so effective. It truly works because it's a physical, chemical thing. It actually does calm you down. The next one is the what if list. And I actually have a full article coming out on this pretty soon, but I'll give you the spoiler here. And that is, I call it a brain dump. The brain dump, the what if list, it basically means you pull out a piece of paper or open a window on your computer and you just write down anything that comes to mind. Julia Cameron had a book called The Artist's Way that she used the morning pages, where you do this every morning. 3 pages. I have done that in the past, but I don't really use that. But whenever anything's bothering me, I'll just open up a file and just type anything that comes to mind. And if there's really things that are nagging me, then I like to use a what if list. So then I just write out every scenario. What if I break a string and the music store is closed? What if I break a nail? What if I run out of eggs? What if anything that happens to be on your mind and worrying you, just write it down, and then you can just spend just a second and just brainstorm a couple of things that you could do in that situation. How could you deal with that? Oh, my buddy Tommy has some guitar strings, and so I can call him up and see if I can borrow some, whatever it happens to be, right? So you can have your solutions there, and it's amazing how much just getting it out of your head and onto a piece of paper or onto a virtual piece of paper, how much that calms you down. It's massive, especially for the big things. And like before traveling, I did this, and somehow global pandemic didn't show up on my what if list. So I didn't have a preparation in mind for it yet, but then I quickly did after it came up. Then I made a new what if list. And so here we are. So those are 2 excellent things. Now, what about once we actually get onto the guitar and we've done both of these things and now we sit down? What are some other ways? Well, I'm a huge fan of the timer. So just limiting the time that we have to spend on any one thing, it just puts a little bit of a fire under us to pay attention. So if I say, okay, I'm going to do my primary arpeggios now, whatever it happens to be, right? Then to limit the time, okay, I've only got 5 minutes on this. Even though I might have all day, technically, I'm only going to give myself 5 minutes on this, so I really have to pay attention and do it right? And so this comes into attention management. And so then limiting your time, using a timer can really help you to focus. And that is, I use a timer almost every single practice. Just a programmable timer, I just have it, and I do it, and it just goes in every few minutes, it dings. And so then I bounce to something else and bounce to something else, unless I'm working deeply on something, and then I'll just let it ding and I'll keep going. But most times I like to keep it short, and then come back later to the same thing if I want to work more on that. If I haven't quite gotten it yet, then I'll leave and I'll come back. And so it's just another way of practicing. But the timer is a really nice tool. All right, so those are 3 things just for fun: the box breathing, the journaling and what if scenarios, and then also just using a timer in your practice to focus. Also, one more thing about attention on the guitar and focus on the guitar. It's all about focusing on specific things. So it's not about, okay, here I'm going to focus, here we go, boom. The question is not, am I focusing? The question is, what am I focusing on? And so if I'm playing scales, what am I focusing on while I'm playing these scales? Because I can play scales just mindlessly, looking out the window, thinking about, so-and-so. Well, that's not really focusing. I'm playing, my fingers are still moving, but it's not focusing. So it's really, the question is, what am I focusing on? And so it could be, I'm listening to each note connecting to the next, so it's really smooth and connected. It could be, I'm feeling my motions in my right hand. It could be, I'm listening to the volume of each note and making sure it's absolutely there. I'm listening for any sort of squeaks or so the question is, what am I focusing on? And if you can answer that question at any given time, then you're focusing. Although if you're really focusing, you're probably not going to ask the question. But if somebody did interrupt you, then you could actually tell them at any given time, this is what I'm focusing on. And then as you focus, and as you build these things to focus, then you'll bounce between them. I'm listening to the connection. I'm feeling the movements of my fingers. I'm feeling how my fingers move through the strings. I'm listening to the tone quality. I'm listening to the volume. All of these things bouncing back and forth between them, but always paying attention to something specific. So these are some focusing tricks, some focusing tips for you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you take some time and just admire the beautiful spring if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and the way that things are budding out. And it's actually really nice, even though there's stuff going on in the world. Chances are, just right out the window is really nice. It certainly is here. So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck with everything. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Actually, it's not goodbye yet. I just decided I'm just going to share this new recording I just did of The Water is Wide. I've got a course coming out on this sometime this year, but I just recorded it, and so I'd like to share it with you. So I hope you enjoy it. Have a wonderful day.